Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and whether you're at home, driving, or even at work, we are always glad you're here with us. We have another amazing show for you today and a special guest I'll introduce in just a moment. But back with us again is my lovely co-host, Sheila Applegate, who is a conscious life coach and author. Hello, Sheila. How are you?
Hi, Brian. I'm doing really well today. Excited to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
here. We have a great topic, and I always love when Halina is with us. So it's a good
Now
day.
we were just talking about the weather. You got snow yesterday. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's not that uncommon for us at this time of year at all,
Okay.
really. What's uncommon is that we've had a lot of hot days, so really
Okay.
warm days. So we're way ahead on spring right now, but this is
Mhm.
actually probably normal for us. Just doesn't feel it this year.
Yeah, I was telling you guys offline about, this is that roller coaster ride of the season where it's like up and down, up and down, up and down until we get to spring. I'm hoping that it doesn't affect the cherry blossoms. Here in DC, everyone, we have a beautiful cherry blossom festival that's all around the National Mall. And if it gets too warm and then the temperature drops, the cherry blossoms don't stick around for that long and it just gets green. And so hopefully um, we'll have a nice season of at least a couple weeks where we'll see the beautiful cherry blossoms around Washington. So I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Um, got an amazing topic. And Sheila, what I wanted to start this discussion before we get to our guest, I found this fantastic article. I think I was telling you guys about that's and it's called What We Get Wrong About Death, according to End of Life Workers. And in this article, um, first of all, I want to say I highly recommend our audience go read it, number one. Number two, they go through a lot of different points in the article, but specifically, there's one important thought about it that they say not enough people plan or talk about how they want to die. And so I was like, wow, what a important thing that we need to talk about. And from the article, it says one of the experts says, unfortunately, by the time someone is at the end of life, it's often too late to talk to them about what they want. And then everybody is trying to play catch up, and it's hard to get it right when the chips are down and there's so much emotion. And how true is that? And so I'm so glad we're going to have this conversation today, where we can support people in having a joyful experience as they move through their transition. And back with us to talk about this is Alina Goldstein, who's the author of Awakening to Joyful Living series of books and the co-founder of the Joy Keepers Network. Helina, I'm so glad you're here. Been missing you.
So am I. It's so good to be back.
Yeah, and and I'm specifically glad that both of you are here because I think when we're talking about like transitioning, death, end of life, I like to call it we're going into this twilight of our human experience and moving into the light of our experience beyond our human bodies. It gets so serious. I know I really want it to feel, it is serious, and at the same time, I want people to feel, in using your words, Helena, joyful. And so that's why I'm glad that the two of you are here helping me talk about this. Because as in that article I was just talking about, all these end of life workers, they're like, have the conversation. It's a natural part of living. And so have the conversation and bring it forth, and don't wait until you're literally in hospice or you're about to get out of here and now you're like trying to get all this stuff together. And so where I'd like to begin this conversation is with this question to all of us. How can we prepare in a way that is in alignment with what we believe death to be? And so since Helina, you're our special guest, I'm going to go to you for your response.
Thank you. This is such a one of the most interesting topics in life, besides life itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we know that death is part of there is a transition, and at the same time, this is where we enter the big we don't know. This is where we enter the sphere where we can have different beliefs or different intuitions or different senses of what's after or what's in between. But on a human level, we don't know, and that's what makes it exciting and meaningful too.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I do sense strongly that there is life after life after life.
Yeah.
I don't have many specifics about it, and I don't want to have. To me, it's very much about being open to what's next. And I know that the life that's been such an amazing experience for me is going to be even more amazing. Why not?
Yeah.
That's so I believe that for me the preparation is honoring the life that was, which is special. I'd be 69 this year, so there's quite a bit to look back at, but also prepare in a sense of trust, with joy, with love, with openness. That's very, very important for me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What about you, Sheila? What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I'm with Halina on the wanting to focus on it and to allow it to be part of our life process. I think I have a unique perspective because when I was in high school, I made a decision to believe in life after death, thinking that we're never going to really know until it happens. And so if there isn't anything afterwards, I'm not going to be conscious to realize it. And if there is, then I'll be there. So I'm going to just believe in it and see where it takes me in this lifetime. And because of that, I've ended up spending the last 30 years of my life communicating with deceased loved ones of people around the world. So when I look at death, it isn't an ending. I don't think it's a final line. I do think that people will be able to continue to communicate with me because I know how to be loud, because I've watched the loud spirits over the years. But in that same process, looking at it in the way to prepare. And I think end of the life, it comes early or than we think, because there's a process. My parents they had a long process through dementia that led to their deaths. But in doing that every step of the way, it was clear we knew before they lost their ability to express it what they wanted, as far as life support, different things like that. And it's such a gift that we give to our loved ones when we prepare for that. And at the same time, once we reach the point, we don't care. So whatever our loved ones need at the time, I think is even more important.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking about this, and I love both. I agree with both of you. It's like, I'm like right there with you. If I could put both of your answers in one, I would just do that. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That nailed it. My thoughts about this are, I think a lot of times people get wrapped up in whether or not there is something after death, right? They get wrapped up in that, and they don't get into, okay, how do I want my life to be celebrated when I'm about to depart? And all the things that are around that. What conversations do I want to have with my loved ones? What is the, I mean, there's minute details around like finances and all that kind of stuff. That's important, but this is more about the personal interactions and how you want people to again celebrate your life, and how do you want to feel about that at that moment. If you believe in the transition like the three of us do, that makes it more sweeter. I think that makes it more sweet. And at the same time, it's not necessary to believe that to have a joyful death, right? And to have a more peaceful death. And that and that this is not morbid. It's not, I think people put a lot of emphasis on that. I mean, based upon religion and doctrine and dogma. But we get to choose. I think that's the final point, I think, for me. We get to choose what that means. And seeing traditions like in New Orleans where part of it is, there's this solemn remembrance, but then there's a party, right? There's music, there's liveliness, there's, a celebration that's there, really resonated with me. And I'm like, yeah, I get to choose what that's about, and all that. And in that article, they say that too. They say that not everybody has to have this solemn, silent kind of thing. That you get to choose how you want to be remembered, and how you want other people to remember you during that period. And so, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. So great. I think this is a good start, right? This is a good start. Yeah. Would love for our audience, even after we're done with our live stream or on radio, for those of you got out on the West Coast, love your thoughts about this too. So either put, questions or comments in our live chats, or send us an email at soulivity@soulivity.com, because we'd love to hear from you. Ladies, listen, I think that's a good start. So we're going to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to talk more about joyful transitioning, and make this turn toward how this is aligned with our thoughts about how we live our lives, which is another important piece. So we're going to take this break, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Parasetter? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Parasetter is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Parasetter, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Join us every weekday at 8 a.m. for Soulivity Today.
Whether you're just starting your day or on the road,
Soulivity Today will make your days better.
We will empower you with authentic conversation about the latest news and trending topics. Plus, you won't want to miss our interviews with industry experts.
So sit back, relax, and get ready for a whole lot of fun.
Soulivity Today, weekdays at 8 a.m. only on KMET
1490 AM radio and ABC News affiliate.
Hey, we're back here with more on Soulivity today, where we are discussing how to create a joyful transition to another life. And back with us are Sheila Applegate and Alina Goldstein. Thank you both for being here. Such an important conversation, and thank you for making this joyful too. You know, I'm happy we're having this conversation. Another important question that I think we can ask about this is, how can we prepare for our transition in a way that's in alignment with how we choose to live our lives? There's a little bit of a difference here between our last question, which was around, you know, what do we think about death? This is more about how do we choose to live, right? And so, Helina, I'm going to go back to you. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, the first thought is that it's really important. I feel to remember that there is, in a way, besides life, death is most important. And so it's so important that we create everything around it in a way that is true for us, not necessarily in a way that is true for our culture or our family or our traditions, but what is really true for ourselves. And if I may use myself as an example, because I am a rather unusual example. So I live alone. I don't have any family here in Denmark. I have a little bit of a family far away in other countries. We have a nice, good connection, but we're not that close. So the people that are most close to me are some friends. And so at some point when I started contemplating, you know, and what is going to happen when my transition comes, I made some decisions. And I asked some of my friends to be my next journey team, I call them.
Wow.
And so I asked them to, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but just say that for me, that's in alignment with how I live. My friends are most close to me, so these are the people that are going to take care of both of my affairs, but also of decisions that may need to be taken by then. And it is all actually in an energy of joy. Sheila is one of those beautiful souls that had said yes to this, and we met the whole team, which is 4 people plus me, online, because we're in different countries, and there was an energy of joy in it, actually, of connection, of creativity. So it's a beautiful experience. It's possible.
Wow, I love that. Oh, and what a beautiful gift, Sheila, that you're giving to Helina as part of this. How do you feel about that? I mean, that's probably having an effect on your decision-making process around your transition, right?
Well, I think it's really beautiful, and I feel very honored to be a part of this team. And one of the thoughts that I had is it's something that's missing in society a lot right now. Like Helina, you had said, you don't fit into that mold, you know, of what society has prepared for that journey. And culturally, like I'm thinking of the Haudenosaunee indigenous people of my area, and they have set preparations. So we know that if somebody dies there, they have clans, and so there's a certain clan assigned to the other clan, so that nobody who is in the immediate family has to do the cooking and do the prep, and they know what to do, you know, and it's a systematic thing. And I was thinking with synagogues or churches, I think they have those committees that happen, but we don't all fit in those traditional categories or communities right now. And so I love the way, Helina, you brought us together. And each of us have our own task in it. And the task is are part of it, right? Is a responsibility that matches our skill set. And so, and it's about supporting each other, so nobody is left with it. And it did wake me up too. I know that I have to prepare for for my family, because I don't want them, they're going to be grieving, and I don't want them to hold the burden. So between this and other things, I did say to my kids years ago, well, I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to care. You can do whatever kind of thing you want. And they said, yeah, Mom, it would be easier if you told us what you wanted. That will make it easier for us when you're gone. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll tell you what I want, but I don't care if you do anything different.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
That reminds me of the movie The Bucket List, right? I don't know if you guys saw that movie. And both of them were like, I don't care, just put my ashes in a coffee can, and put me somewhere and I'm okay. So that kind of thought came to my mind, and it was like, are we really telling ourselves the truth? When we say that, some of people, that absolutely, that's exactly what they want, right? Because they're like, I'm not here anymore. My dad would say that, like, listen, I'm not here. And so that, that body or whatever, you don't have to honor that body because I'm not there. That was just a puppet for me for a while. And so, and at the same time, as he neared his end of his life, he had talked more about, making plans and letting us all know, as well as we had a chance to tell him what our feelings were, and maybe some things that we wanted for for that time for him, which again goes to this question of, is what we want for transition in alignment with how we lived our lives? Because as a family, we always had, whatever big decisions were in any of our lives, we would always come together and not necessarily discuss them like, oh, I need approval. It was more like, hey, listen, this is a big thing, and here's the support that I need from you, and what do you need from me? Kind of like Helina, this beautiful, joyful, motley crew, quote unquote, of friends that are coming together to help support you when you transition. It's kind of like that. And so, I love the fact that all three of us are talking about it in this way. That this is a kind of tribal kind of thing, like First Nation people. I mean, people are honoring each other in that way, and that everybody feels part of a larger whole, which I think brings some peace when we're talking about this moment, these moments in our lives. So thank you for both of you for that. Thank you for sharing those things. But we got to take a break and pay some bills. But we're going to take this break, everybody, but stay right there because we're going to talk more about this. I hope you're getting a lot of good information and thinking about it for yourselves. Like what conversations do I need to have with my loved ones and that kind of thing, because that's what this is about. So we're going to take this quick break, but we've got more of Soulivity coming up in just a second. And we're going to talk a little bit about this idea of preparing and letting go. How can we do that at the same time? And what advice can our guest and our host, give us on that? So we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. You can learn more about the Aspire Academy by visiting aspire.soulivity.com. Hey, we are back here with more on Soulivity today. Where we are discussing how to create a joyful, I said joyful transition to another life. And back with us again are Sheila Applegate and Alina Goldstein. Thank you again both for being here and talking about this, because this is so important. As that article that I showed earlier, the Huffington Post, most people wait till it's too late. And then you're dealing with trying to do prep and all these other things while everybody's in at the height of their emotional states. And so it's not it's not the best way to go, I would say. And I know that I don't want to do that for myself. I want this to be joyful. And so I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I'm probably going to be talking to some loved ones after this. Let's talk about this idea of balancing the preparation and letting go at the same time. And my guess is, Helina, for you, when you're thinking about this, is this a time where we're talking later, where maybe you know that it's getting close to time and that kind of thing? Or are you saying like to people when you think about this, no, it doesn't matter, that you can start the process of letting go maybe thoughts that you may have or stuff that you've pushed down about death? Can you give us what your thoughts are around this?
Yes, but maybe from a slightly different perspective, if that's okay.
Love it. Love
because I had such a funny experience with this preparing and letting go at the same time, and it's like life has been teasing me, because in the beginning, also because I had to ask friends and not family, and I in a way a very private person, so it was like, okay, so I'm gone, and then they're going to come to my apartment, and then everything is accessible. And so one part of it was like, there was definitely a part of me that wanted to control that process and to like say very like, don't touch this or touch this, and this just throw out. So that was the first part, was like really trying to control everything, and then noticing that this is what I was doing. So I started like hello, wake up. And it was over time, it was a process. So along the way, I started to relax more about it, but I still felt, and I still do actually, that to make it as easy as possible for my friends, the more detailed not distractions, well, instructions of distraction, you could say.
Right.
The more detailed instructions for distraction, I give them, the easier it is for them, actually. So I did it. I have like a 4 pages to-do list, like one bullet point after the other. And they're very grateful that I did that. And then again, as I've been doing that, it's been changing. And along the way, I've been able to let go more and let go more and let go more. And long story short, at this point where I am with that, I'm like, here's the to-do list. This is how I see things. If you do it differently, that's what you do. If you decide differently, that's what you do. If you decide you don't want to have anything to do with any of it, that's what you do. And
Right.
it feels genuinely okay. But I think it's important to recognize and to respect that there's a journey there. There's a journey from wanting to prepare and to control to letting go. And it's a good journey. It's that in itself is the perfect preparation for transition, I think.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, first being detailed, right? About, and again, writing that, probably just doing a brainstorm on it, right? Where you're just writing down all these different things all the thoughts that you may have so that you can be clear, right? Because Sheila, I remember in an interview with Oprah, and the interviewer asked her, what's the most important thought about manifesting the life that you want, right? And she, without hesitation, she said, you've got to be clear on exactly what you want. You've got to be clear on it. And so, as Helena was talking, I was like, thinking, yeah, we've got to be clear about how we want that experience to be so that we can talk about it with other people. And then that is the letting go, right? You're preparing and letting go at the same time, where you're releasing it, all the anxiety and all the stress and all that kind of thing about it. Is that how you received it too?
Yeah, I do. I mean, with a specific case of Halina, I've been joking with her like, okay, I'll do this, but you're not allowed to die yet. I have to come and see you first.
Agreed. Agreed. We're not ready.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that whole preparation thing, and it's really fascinating. But my daughter in high school was given an assignment to write about her life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 or something, and then to write her obituary.
Wow.
And that was a really powerful opening of conversation for us back then as well, because we discussed, I mean, at that point, the plan was that they were going to put me on a raft in my favorite lake and throw a fire arrow at me. And we have to navigate the current society. So I think the playfulness and the preparation, and then the process of also knowing it doesn't really matter. And something, Helena, you said about, being a private person. For me, for the people close to me, especially as a mom, there's been this desire that I don't want them to discover me after I die. I want them to know me. And when they go through my thing, not that I'm going to hide something from them, but I started writing a journal to them when they were young. I didn't do a very good job of following up with it, but the intention is to let them know me fully while I'm alive so that there aren't surprises or wondering when I'm gone. And if they really know me, then they'll know that the process is okay. I also really appreciate that my parents downsized and cleared, and there was, you know, they had a slow death, so there was periods of time where we were doing some of the sorting, but by the time they died, we didn't have things that we had to go. We didn't have a whole house full that we had to sort through or anything like that. So that's
Right.
definitely one of my intentions now every day is, okay, you know, you need to be thinking about when you're going to get rid of this stuff so that they don't have to deal with it and things like that.
Right. Right.
And what you're
Right.
saving and what, yeah. I guess it's an
Yeah.
everyday part of life, I think.
One thing that I really, really, really resonated with that you said earlier, and that is you wanted them to know you now, not after you've gone, right?
Mhm.
You know, you both know that over the last year or so, actually over the last couple of years, I've been doing this memorial project for my father, and he shared a lot about his life with us, which is why I'm able to do the memorial, right? Because I know all these tracks and all these other things. There's things that, of course, he didn't tell me because he wasn't thinking about it, on that level that he did that were in congruence with like history, for instance, so I'm getting the experience of being able to walk in his shoes, or we're getting to walk in his shoes over his life, but we still were there. We still have the information. And that's so important because it would be a sad thing to experience this person leaves and is on the other side of the veil. And even though you can talk to them through people like you and other channelers and mediums, to have that experience while they're physically here and possibly say words like, I am so proud of you, or thank you for doing that. That meant so much. That decision made so much, it brought so much positivity into our family, right? And I know, or that must have been hard for you. And I'm glad that you stuck it out and whatever. I mean, then have that conversation, right? To make it more rich. This is all part of joy, right, Helena?
It
Where,
is.
where, having these conversations and talking to people about the detail around how you want to experience your transition, these are all ways of bringing joy, and then that creates peace and love and all the other things that are there. That's the most important part of this, right?
It truly is. And for me personally, joy has become like the one focal point for everything. So it would be unnatural for it not to be part of this process also.
Yeah.
But and also it is, as you were discussing before, it is part of my life. So bringing it in is alignment with how I live. But there's also something more specific that I've been noticing lately, and that is, we kind of know it, but maybe or maybe it's just me, don't think so much about it, that when we are in that state of joy, there is no past, there is no future.
Right.
When I am in a state of joy and I know that something has to happen at some point, there's such a sense of peace and such a sense of trust that I can say confidently, either I will take care of it by then, or it will take care of itself by then. That's for me part of joy. It's that tremendous confidence. So it's a wonderful quality to take with us, both as a lightness and as a remembrance that even if the transition is into unknown and there is the letting go and there is some pain and some difficulties for some, there is also a flow that takes us there. And the joy that we have with us now can go with us all the way and beyond. That I
Right.
do know for sure.
Right. Right. What are your thoughts about this, Sheila?
Well, of course, I agree with Helina. And I guess
Right.
I'm just thinking too, as we talk, and we've done many shows together, the three of us talking about joy, and that essence that joy is in sadness. So it is okay to be sad. I mean, I can think about dying and be sad because I still want to live for a while, you know. I can think about the ways it could happen or what would, you know, there can be sadness in it, and I expect that people will cry when I die. That would be natural, right?
Right.
But I'm just hoping that that sadness is filled with joy and memories and completeness, and also not completeness, because when we realize that we can experience our connection to people after they're
Mhm.
dead, I think it does take a pressure, a finite ending away that allows us to, I think, show up more in life. That's what's so powerful, is that when we realize that life is not a finite line, whatever that means, you know, it could mean that you move into allness, into nature, and that is still life. But life force, that energy continues. I feel like that allows us, when we get comfortable with this process, it allows us to live more fully and feel more joy.
I'm glad that you said that, because one of the thoughts that I had as both of you were speaking throughout today is this idea that by having the conversations and by doing the preparation, and that being honest with yourself around details about how you want to experience this very important and absolutely necessary and pending thing that's going to happen, regardless of whether or not you want it to or not, it's still going to happen, that you free yourself of whatever hangups you may have about it, that you literally get that off your plate, and that now you can fully live your life with joy and peace and all the other things that you want to experience. I look at it as the same as, if we want to manifest our lives, right, this best life for ourselves, you can try to do that with all of the baggage that you have, and try to be, you know, like, not look at it, but manifesting it is infinitely harder than actually saying, listen, there's something over here that I really need to look at and talk about and bring out with joy. To Helina's point, bring it out with joy, that it literally dissipates all the anxiety that we have about that, just goes away, because we're in the present moment, right? We're talking about it in this present moment. And then by talking about it, having it done in the present moment, now that just supercharges everything that you want to experience in, you know, the more joy, more love, more peace, more harmony, whatever that is, that just gets supercharged. And so your experience of your transition now becomes even more peaceful, right?
Mhm.
And more joyful too. I mean, you know, again, it doesn't mean that you won't cry, to your point, Sheila. And people won't be sad that you're not here physically, because it's a transition. That's what part of this is. And it will make it so much smoother, and you can focus on the most important things of that transition, and that is just experiencing it, right? Just with its fullness. Helina, any last thoughts from you about this?
I do want to say something that you, Brian, and we've all kind of said already, but it's so important. Please don't wait. I've never felt more healthy than I do now, never more happy, never more alive. I want to live for the next 200 years. I'm probably not going to do that. This is the space in which I prepared this. So don't wait. Take your time to get a good relationship with death, and then prepare, and it will only enrich your life. Do not wait.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. Sheila, what about you? Any final thoughts
That
from
was
you?
yeah, it's almost the exact same thought that I wanted to say is, we're kind of then talking as if we're preparing for something at the end of a long life, but death can happen at any time. And I learned that I nearly died when I was 32. And so there's that wake up call. To be fair and honest, I do not have all my ducks in a row. I need to listen to myself in this as far as the logistics go. And, I can be at peace with all of this, but there's things I do need to get down on paper. And it doesn't really matter how old you are, like being ready for it at any time is not being, not thinking of the worst. It's just preparing for the best.
Thank you both for that. I'll say ditto to both of you. I've had as you guys both know, I had my near-death experience before, and so that was a wake-up call. I would love to challenge. This is a challenge. It's a challenge to people, especially those with children. Start having the conversation about death and transitioning when your kids are young or whatever age they are, but start the conversation, because I think, as in this article we were reading earlier, people, the overwhelming majority of people, when they were talking about end of life, they were more concerned about staying alive at any and all costs, right? Than to have had a conversation about this and having it all planned, and everybody knows what your wants and needs and desires were, and that you feel peaceful, they feel peaceful, and that when you do transition, everybody can just be in that space instead of scrambling and doing all this other stuff, right? I also believe that as part of that, you're freeing your children to fully live while they're here in this plane of existence, and that they're not, getting hung up on what society says you need to accomplish and how you need to accomplish it and all that other stuff, that they can just be in their life space and life experience. And so that's my challenge. That's what my thoughts were about this. And so thank you to both of you. This has been good. This is good. Why don't we get to some quick plugs? We got another Joy Keepers coming up, y'all. We have another Joy Keepers, and on March 27th, I believe, it's coming up now. Come on. There it is. On Wednesday, March 27th. What can we expect, y'all? Who wants to talk about this a little bit while we have time?
Well,
Sheila?
each month I think Halina did it last month, so I'll go this month. We're coming together on Zoom, and it's Joy Keepers from around the world, and you're welcome to join. And we come together for a conversation as if we were in a cafe. And then we have a short meditation that I lead you into, but then we stay in silence to each have our own journey. And we come back and we discuss it. And it's a really cool experience to bring so many different people from around the world. Sometimes we can break out into small cafe conversations so you get to know people more. And sometimes we stay together as the group. It is free. And if you haven't registered yet, you just go to the joykeepers.org/cafe. And all we ask is for your email. And once you sign up, you'll get the information for each month, and as long as you'd like to.
It is an awesome experience. I've had it. I kind of get on myself for the times that I may miss it. But guess what? Because I signed up, I can always go back and watch the video. So as I do, I
Yeah.
go back and watch the video. It's absolutely free, everyone. So this is, you know, there's no payment for this. This is something that the Joy Keepers are committed to doing because they're committed to bringing joy in the world. And so this is all about that. Timing for this, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Pacific time for those of you out on the Los Angeles area or West Coast, 11 a.m. in New York, East Coast, 3 p.m. in London, I think that's GMT, and 1600 hours in Copenhagen. I'm using my little thing here, Copenhagen, my little language stuff. Thank you both. This has been wonderful. You know, this is exactly how I wanted to have this conversation today. This is not, you know, oh my God, he's talking about death. They're talking about death. I can't believe it. You know, it's not that. It's not like that at all. So thank you both for having this conversation this morning and afternoon. Just want to let everybody know about a couple of things really quickly before we get out of here. First and foremost, we have some fantastic new articles at Soulivity.com, including a fantastic interview. Do you guys know about this one? Called A Kismic Experience with Belinda Carlisle of the Go-Go's. Remember them?
Oh, yeah. I do.
Our own D'Angelo Thompson did a fantastic interview with her. It's on our site on our main page, so go check that out. Also, some other fantastic articles that are being released almost daily, so go check those out. Also, we want to remind you to follow us on social media, where you can learn more about tips and how-tos. We're on all the major platforms, but specifically subscribe to our YouTube channel where you're going to get alerts every time we go live for our Soulivity TV programming, including this show. Also, we are available on all major podcast providers, so you can take Soulivity today wherever you go, and you can listen to these wonderful angels like Halina and Sheila, their lovely voices and lovely thoughts. Just take them wherever you go, because I do. Listen, we're almost out of time. Just want to say thank you for joining us. This is how we do it Monday through Friday on Soulivity TV. We're at 8 o'clock Pacific time at KMET 1490 AM radio. Until next time, keep working that passion and purpose, and you're going to create that best life today. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.